process of making a movie takes a long time. You need to write a script or have it written, and you may need to have it revised and rewritten until it's good or good enough. You have to secure the finances, which can range from a few studios, some generous investors, crowdfunding, or even your own pocket. Then you have to plan the shoot, secure actors, crew, and location, and then shoot the film, which can take, by itself, a few weeks to a few months. And then, of course, editing the picture takes a while as well. In general, films take about 3 years to make, some taking way longer, like most Stanley Kubrick films or Apocalypse Now. It's something you can't usually shoot in a few days, especially if you want it to be good. But there is a notable exception to that rule, a film that was shot in a very short time period, a film of such renown that it later became an off-Broadway, then later on, a Broadway musical, and was remade in the 80s as a musical film that most people are familiar with today, a film that those at Red Letter Media admired, and it was even parodied in an episode of American Dad. The film is Little Shop of Horrors, the original from 1960. And it wasn't a big-budget musical with stars like Rick Moranis, Steve Martin, or Bill Murray, directed by Frank Oz with hyper-realistic puppets like it was in the 80s version. It's a B-movie directed by Roger Corman, the man who helped jumpstart the careers of these people. And it was shot in 2 days and a night. Yes, 2 days of shooting. A feature-length film. Now, naturally, you'd think the film would be terrible and that assumption would be sensible, but it's incorrect. It's a cult classic that is entertaining with a lot of strong, memorable characters and laughs, whether intentional or not. The film is about a florist assistant named Seymour, who is a bit of a screw-up and works at Mushnick's Florist on Skid Row in LA, and that's what it's called. A struggling flower shop run by Mr. Mushnick, who speaks broken English and is of an Eastern European origin.
Explain me more.
And you can also tell his broken English by all the signs in the store. Seymour screws up for the last time, and Mushnick fires him, but with some pleading from himself, the love interest Audrey, and a flower muncher, a guy who eats flowers,
Look, don't knock it until you try it, huh?
played by Dick Miller, they make a deal. With the plant named Audrey Jr., he's been working on home, attracts customers, he can keep his job, but a major problem becomes apparent. In order for the plant to thrive as an attraction, it needs blood, human blood.
Ow! 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 Ow!
The film was made right after Corman's last movie, Bucket of Blood, which was shot in 5 days and has a very similar plot, with a busboy who makes masterpiece clay sculptures that gain him attention and acclaim in the beatnik community. The only problem is that his sculptures are more like molds with the model still in them. The structure of Bucket to Little Shop is pretty much the same beat by beat, but Little Shop is funnier and lighter than Bucket, as the deaths in Little Shop are more accidental, which makes Seymour more sympathetic, while Walter, the protagonist in Bucket, is a straight-up killer. Also, the plant eats its victims in a non-gruesome way, while we see the victims in Bucket of Blood and how they died. The characters are very strong in Little Shop, from the love interest Audrey, who's sweet and naive.
Don't waste your pity on me, Audrey. I'm not worth it.
Who says you're not?
Everybody.
Yeah, I know.
To Mr. Mushnick, the man who eats flowers, and even the sadist dentist.
Now you are going to get it. Oh, you are going to get it. Look.
Who also has the masochist patient, played by a young Jack Nicholson.
No, Novocaine. It dulls the senses.
Bill Murray later plays this role in the 80s version. Seymour also has a hypochondriac mother who's overly obsessed with medicine and thinks she's sick when she really isn't, and really likes tonic that has a high alcohol percentage.
Alcoholic content, 98%.
And then there's also the old lady customer, whose family is dropping like flies and is a frequent customer of the flower shop.
My nephew Frankie just lost his little boy.
Oh, that's too bad. How did it happen?
He was playing with matches.
Would you like to buy maybe some flowers?
About 50 cents worth.
The film has a frantic energy due to its quick shoot. All the characters perform with a decisive intensity that aided in the humor. You see this with the hammy performance of the dentist, Jack Nicholson, the mother, Seymour, and everyone really. Some acting may be considered bad, but in this movie, it fits the tone extremely well, especially with the giant talking plant screaming, "Feed me!" which became an iconic line. The film was lightning in a bottle. It was written fast and shot fast, being only written in 2 weeks by Chuck Griffith. They had 3 rehearsal days prior to the shoot and shot with 2 camera crews and even pre-lit the next scenes to save time. A lot of decisiveness was needed when shooting a film like this, like in Jack Nicholson's masochist dentist scene. Seymour, pretending to be the dentist, bumps into a real dentist machine and Corman, not wanting to have to pay for the broken machine he borrowed, jumps in and saves it. He then calls cut, and then they move on to the next scene, not even doing another take. And you can even see it in the film. Corman was very economical in the production as well, making it for about $30,000. He used a set from another film that wasn't being used anymore, and filmed in it for free before they tore it down, which was a common Corman tactic, and a big reason why the movie was made in the first place. He used his usual cast of characters, and even Chuck Griffith got some family members in the film, like his grandmother Myrtle Vale for Seymour's mother, his dad as a dental patient being drilled, and even himself playing a robber. For the outside scenes, they were shot in Skid Row, and the people in the background were real people, not extras. And it was directed by Chuck Griffith, and they didn't even use a union crew as that would have cost too much. The fact that this movie worked out was a miracle. Even Dick Miller, who played Walter in Bucket and was offered the role of Seymour, turned it down because he didn't believe they could shoot it in 2 days. That's why he played his more minor role. This movie is a testament to what one can do, even with little time, little money. It's an amazing set of circumstances that would be difficult to recreate, and there was a film later in his career in which Corman would try to do something similar, called The Terror. But it ended up having 5 directors, and it took 9 months to complete, with one of those directors being a young Francis Ford Coppola, and even Jack Nicholson at one point. Which is what you would expect to happen when trying to shoot a film that fast, and why Little Shop was so special. It's not a masterpiece by technical terms, and many could argue that it was a bad film because of some corny elements or plot lines that weren't entirely resolved in a satisfactory manner, like Audrey and Seymour's relationship, and the way it being shot and being mostly with cuts that felt unnecessary and kind of stitched together, and some bad editing in general. But you don't watch a B-movie for those things. You watch it to be entertained, and this film was most certainly that. The film is free to watch on YouTube, so if you want to watch something funny, weird, and campy, I suggest this.